In the first part of the video, I tried to give arguments on why I believe that key element for a governance to work is being able to decide who can or cannot participate. But now we have the identities, and of course what we're gonna do here is to decide what identities can participate and what other identities cannot participate. Let's get very specific. Let's create, for example, an app, and that could be decentralized Tinder, for example. And we want to be open, and we want everyone to participate if they know what they're talking about. I'm going to define a very, very simple merit at the beginning. So what we need to do now is to find a metric that kind of represents what we want. And a very simple one that I think works very well is have some sort of contribution tokens. And a contribution token is just a token that represents how much effort have you put in the project. So we can have a smart contract. It's a contribution token smart contract. One contribution token represents more or less an hour of specialized work. The very basic first merit equation could be something like this. Merit is equal to the contribution tokens that you have divided by the total supply of contribution tokens. That will give us a number that will represent what percentage of contribution you have had in the project. So in this specific case at the beginning, there is the total supply is 0. Now at the early stages, I'm the only one participating in this project. I'm gonna represent myself here and just give myself 100 contribution tokens. That represents all the hours that I have put to think about it and set up sketches and prepare documentation, etc. The total will be 100, and therefore my merit will be 100 divided by 100. I'll have like 1 merit, or if you want to put it differently, I have 100% of the ownership of the project. This merit probably should be inside, or needs to be inside, a governance contract. This will be like the mother contract that will control all the others. One way that this could be developed, for example, is every Monday, everyone that has contributed in the project have a video call, and everyone shows up what they have been doing. Like, I made this design, I committed this code, etc. And the owners or the people that has the merit can approve to give contribution tokens. Let's say that Bob just knew about the project and he got so excited. Bob spent all week working and fixing bugs of the shitty code I wrote. So he shows up in the video call and he say, "Hey Chavi, look, I've done all that." And I say, "Oh, that's awesome, thank you so much. I think that's about like 50 contribution tokens." So Bob now has 50 contribution tokens. Therefore the total is 150, and therefore now I don't have that many. My merit got diluted, so I have 66% and Bob will have 33%. Now Alice shows up and she says, "Hey, I've done this logo and it took me like the whole week. I think I deserved 100 contribution tokens." And Bob say, "Oh yeah, that's awesome, here." And I say no. And of course, because I still have the majority, this will not get approved. Therefore, Alice still has 0 contribution tokens. So she cannot make decisions yet because the percentage is 0. But she comes next week and she come up with like a ton of different proposals and a website and everything looks amazing. And she says, "Yeah, look, I think that's worth like 50 contribution token." And because they only need me to vote because I still the dictator, I say, "Sure, here like your 50 contribution tokens." What we have is 200 tokens and I own only 50% of it, and Bob owns another 50% and Alice owns another 50%. Sorry, that's horrible math. That's 25% and that's 25%. Never been very good at it. Percentage that a proposal needs to have in order to to succeed. It's something that the contract needs to decide, right? And this will be there before anyone participates. And maybe it makes sense to be like over 50%. Maybe you want your very, very solid consensus and you say like it needs to be like 75%. That's up to whoever sets up the contract. But it's public, so everyone who participates agrees beforehand. Contribution token has been working great. All the people that has token had to spend time understanding how it works. It seems like a pretty good correlation, the fact that, you know, the more insight and the more you understand the system, the better decisions you will have about it. But because our system is very open and it got very popular, there is some guys that just spamming the system with proposals. We don't even have time to get over that. We don't need to have one single merit. We can have multiple merit for different stuff. What we can do now is to create a proposal merit. And a proposal merit is just what will allow you to make proposals or not. And maybe all this requires is to have Chavi tokens. So if Chavi tokens is bigger than 0, then you can make proposals, right? And it's just an anti-spam measure, and all you need to do is just come say, hey Chavi, I like your project, I want to participate, and I'll just give one Chavi token. So now one of these Ethereum whales notice the project and say, wow, that's so cool. Here is 100 Ether to our donation address. Maybe we need now a different merit to share the funds. So I don't know, we call it share merit. And in the share merit, it's a little more fancy because maybe I haven't done anything in the last weeks. Like I just set up the project and now like this project has been running by other people. Maybe it's not fair for me to receive this money. Maybe it is, I don't know. Like that the owners of the project will decide that. So this merit could be something, contribution token multiply by the activity token. And the activity token, the activity token is something that it's reset every week. It has its own smart contract, it has its own logic. Maybe it's owned by like a trusted person that takes care of it. Maybe it's a DAO in itself. It doesn't matter. It can have any logic we want. So we can have merits to make polls, to signal if, you know, if we are agree on not agree with something, like more like a referendum. Maybe we'll have a merit specific for executing functions of another specific contract. Whatever, we can just keep building that depending on our needs. And that's an interesting thing. Maybe our needs changed. Now, at the very beginning, we needed developers. We needed like people that could build stuff. Now the app is already very sophisticated and it works, and what we need to do is get more into the algorithm or matching people. So maybe what we need now is something that represents understanding about love, because that's what our app is about. So maybe we have another merit. That's a merit to change merit. Is a change merit. This probably should be something that you don't really want to change much. So maybe it's a merit based on like the amount of time that you've been involved in the project. I don't know, I'll just put X here. This merit, for example, now will allow us to change this one. And instead of the merit being just a fully contribution based merit, maybe you need like a love token. And you have this entity outside. You have the love DAO somewhere, you know, like here, the love DAO. And that's like a DAO specialized in love, and it's like a university of love. If you pass the exams, it will give you like that you're a certificate that you're like a love specialist, right? So we require now you to be a love specialist. We could represent that here also. But maybe this love DAO, it was just a scam and like it was not really doing the job properly. We can just change it, and now we're not gonna use that anymore. We're just gonna use the love DAO classic or whatever is the next cool thing. I think the cool thing to realize is that now we have the values of this system represented as mathematical equations. And this is like almost the extreme of transparency. I don't think you can get much transparent than that. One of the problems of most of governance is like fix the flaws on the system by adding layers and layers of complexity. And that what it does, it's end up diluting the transparency. Another thing is we can keep morphing the project, right? The goals of the project at the beginning was just to get out there, like to have something working. Now we're really trying to, you know, get the best algorithm as possible to connect the people of the world. So we can keep changing the merit to represent that. Or maybe now your world is so fucked up and we don't want anyone that doesn't care about the climate change. You can use the Greenpeace token before and add them here. So unless you have Greenpeace tokens, like we don't care what you think. We really want you to be green. Let's imagine that our Tinder little dApp has grown so much. Like it's a new Google, a decentralized Tinder of the size of Google. And we have thousands of proposals and we have so much ether that we don't even know what to do. Like we're completely overloaded. One way we could handle that is maybe this is the original Tinder, but now it has become like the dApp department. In the same way we have like the dApp department, we also have the love research department, the marketing department, whatever you can imagine. I said departments, but this could be like circles, projects, like this can be completely different entities, right? Those are like DAOs on its own. Each of them has its own system of governance, completely agnostic to the others, but they can work together. Maybe now these three elements are part of like this much bigger project, which is, you know, like the love DAO. So basically what we're saying here is like those become some sort of identities like this. They can have its own claims and its own behavior, right? And the love DAO, it's made of all these little other DAOs and maybe some others. Maybe there is individuals here. Maybe inside or dApp Tinder, you know, it was originally made of contributors, but now there is like also bots that do some sort of research. Or maybe the Ethereum Foundation has a governance about, you know, solidity, and because we care so much and we want them to like be engaged in our project, we also give them like contribution tokens. So the Solidity team can have something to say in our dApp Tinder. Some DAO, like Solidity DAO, that will be like any of these contributors and can be part of it. What I'm trying to say here is that now we can have this kind of galaxy of DAOs. Little DAOs make a bigger DAO, or maybe not DAOs, maybe like some are centralized authorities, some are individuals, and we can have like this adhocracy, this kind of system that can be as complex as the ones we have right now. We can have hierarchies if we want, or we can have flat structure. It doesn't matter. Like each system decide what it wants. And the awesome thing about it is like everything is transparent. Like you can, before you participate on something, you know what the system stands for. You know what the system requires to change the rules. And I'm looking forward for this future. So all these are just a bunch of ideas. There is some work on the background. I wrote this blog post almost a year ago, trying to explain that. It's called Broken Meritocracy. You can just Google that. And I'm really looking forward for any insight or any proposal. You can contact me at Tabby Vives at Twitter, or .com also for email, or tabbings at Gmail for email. Sorry, I said email. This is the website. Oh yeah, and there is this project which it's basically trying to execute what I've been mentioning. It's called it stands for Ultimate Unicorn Maker Machine, and the goal of is create a tool to make DAOs, because DAOs are awesome and the future of this world. So it's a little abandoned because life is hard, but if anyone wants to join, I'll be happy to collaborate or give ideas or whatever it's required. Bye bye.